Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Autobots and Decepticons, Wikis of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Binging Barbie. I'm your host, Jay, and with me I have my co-host.
Jay!
What's with the bat?
Who are you talking to?
I'm talking to you.
Why are you so sweaty and filthy?
I'm a child, a teenager.
I thought I heard some voices and some noises, and I thought well, it doesn't really matter what I thought. What was that light?
What light? There's no light, John. You've got two lights in your hand.
There was a light coming in under the door.
You can't just bounce into my room like that. You gotta knock. You gotta communicate. I'm a teenager.
I did knock!
You didn't knock. You're screaming at me. This is repression. What are you doing here? You're ruining my youth.
Oh, for Pete's sake, you were so defensive. Were you podcasting?
Was I podcast? No, John. I don't
It's okay.
podcast. That's not something for you to bring up. That's a host and co-host thing,
I mean,
okay?
You don't have to call it that word if it makes you feel uncomfortable. You can call it Jay's recording time or
recording time.
My special talk time.
John, stop.
With my co-host.
John, you can't come in and...
All right. I'm sorry. It's just been a weird night. Okay, let's just continue.
This is a podcast about toy media franchises, 2000s nostalgia, and whatever else we want to talk about. This week we are talking about the first of the Michael Bay Transformers movies, Transformers.
2007.
Yep.
Yes.
Which obviously that dialogue exchange is adapted from... I condensed several characters on top of each other, but...
Yeah. That was definitely a moment in the film.
Right. Transformers. Did you see this one when it came out initially?
I saw this one in theaters, yes. So, like I said in the last episode, if you didn't watch that one, you're here for the Bay films, whatever. But anyway, I got into Transformers mainly through friends who had the toys, the Michael Bay films, and particularly as well, the kind of tie-in animated show that they always have to do for films. There was a 2007 Transformers show called Transformers Animated, which is very much in line with a 2000s cartoon where you have your handful of Autobots, your child sidekick, and then a different villain a week that most of the time isn't actually a Decepticon. So it is fun for something. But anyway, we're talking about the Bay film, so why don't you tell us some things about this film, Jay?
Yeah. Well, quickly, my history with this, I actually have never seen this in full. I had a friend in middle school who liked it enough, and we watched some clips together at one point. But my main exposure to this has been through just sort of media ephemera. I've seen a lot of the scenes from this just from watching different videos about film. Especially Lindsay Ellis has a great series which I just finished rewatching through today called The Whole Plate, where she goes through all of the she uses the Michael Bay Transformers movies as a way to explain different film theory 101 concepts. So feminist film theory, genre film theory, that kind of very basic level stuff, but through the lens of the Transformers movies, which is quite fun. But yeah, I hadn't ever sat down and watched this in full, so I didn't realize that this was 2.5 hours long.
Yeah, that's kind of on the short end of these films, actually.
I know. So. I was looking through it. I just assumed, these are Michael Bay action movies. They must be hour 40, 2 hours at the most. No, they are 2.5 hours at the least.
With a lot of interesting dialogue. We'll get to that.
Yeah. But yeah, anyway, context. In the early 2000s, Hasbro and film producer Don Murphy were sort of looking to adapt a toy line into a live action movie. They initially wanted to go with G.I. Joe, but switched to Transformers after the 2003 invasion of Iraq, hoping to choose
Yeah.
something a little less political. We'll talk about how
Also,
that.
how the GI Joes, they fight against the terrorist group Cobra Command. So
Yeah.
still very close to 9/11 at this point. So it's probably not the best time for this type of thing. Wasn't as
Though,
fashionable as it used to be, I guess.
yeah. Though Michael Bay certainly found a way to make this as much of a G.I. Joe movie as he possibly could without actually being a G.I. Joe movie.
Yeah, true. Yes.
But yeah, in 2004, Steven Spielberg actually joined the film as producer. And he's the one who suggested that the story should follow a boy in his car, kind of a ET style thing, but with a transformer instead of an ET.
Very simple.
Yeah. And then Michael Bay was first approached to direct in 2005, and he initially called it a stupid toy movie, but eventually came around to the idea he wanted to work with Spielberg. And so he asked the writers to expand the role of the military in the story to kind of make it a little more quote unquote grown up.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't grown
Well,
up before, yes.
well, we'll talk about. I think this is one of the cases where you can kind of feel the various creative voices at odds with each other.
Yeah, true.
Like not directly in conflict necessarily, but this feels like everyone involved had a slightly different idea of what this movie was going to be.
I mean, yeah, definitely. And I'm sure none of them really actually cared about the toy line because they were too old for
Well,
toys.
so Steven Spielberg apparently is a fan of the toys and the comics.
Okay.
This is according to Wikipedia, so I don't know what all that entails, but
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, Michael Bay was definitely not, since he called it a stupid toy movie, and he's not super reverent to the Transformers as a concept. But yeah,
Clearly
anyway,
not, but we'll get to that later. Yes.
yeah. This was released July 3, 2007. Very fitting release date. Directed by Michael Bay, who is, of course, the iconic / notorious American action filmmaker.
Mm-hmm.
Got his start in like commercials and music videos, moved into action movies, and his style is often called Bayhem because it's just
Yeah.
this like cacophony of actions and explosions and camera movements, and the camera's always moving, and there's reflections and colors and
very cringy dialogue as well. I guess to
yeah.
bring up the chaos.
Yeah, and this is written by Roberto Orsi and Alex Kurtzman. They're both frequent collaborators who worked on the Xena Warrior Princess TV show, as well as the 2000 to 2010 Star Trek movies, the J.J. Abrams ones, and then I think, is it Justin Lin who did the third one? Anyway, the story is by John Rogers, who was the writer of The Core and Catwoman.
Oh, that explains it. That explains it. Yep.
And then also wrote for the TV show Leverage. Then we have cinematography by Mitchell Admison, who also worked on G.I. Joe Rise of the Cobra, as well as Premium Rush and Now You See Me. And then we have music by Steve Jablonsky, who is a very frequent Bay collaborator. He also worked on The Island, and I guess Battleship isn't technically a Michael Bay movie, but it feels like a Michael Bay movie.
It does,
and
yeah.
Pain and Gain.
Yeah. Well, let's get into the story of this film with this plot summary. So we have Sam Witwicky, who is an awkward teenager living in LA trying to save up for a car. And he puts a pair of his grandfather's glasses up for sale on eBay, though no one buys them. Nonetheless, he gets enough money to buy a car, which is a beat-up 1976 Chevy Camaro. And one night, Sam wakes up to the sound of his Camaro's engine starting. Thinking someone is stealing his car, Sam chases after it. And he sees his car transform into a giant robot who sends some kind of signal out into space. And the next day, the Camaro returns to Sam, who tries to run away from it, and he runs into Michaela, a popular girl from his school, who also starts following him. Yeah, and the Camaro chases him to an abandoned lot where Sam finds a cop car. And the cop car transforms into a different giant robot who starts attacking Sam, asking where his uh, grandfather's glasses are, eBay stuff. And so Sam's Camaro, named Bumblebee, fights the cop car, somewhat off screen. And then Bumblebee takes Sam and Michaela to meet the Autobots, benevolent transforming robots who have just landed on Earth after receiving Bumblebee's signal. And it turns out Sam's grandfather's glasses hold the map to the Cube, a MacGuffin both the Autobots and the evil Decepticons want. Also, aka known as the Allspark. The Cube is.
Okay.
So Sam, Michaela, and Bumblebee are captured by Sector 7, a government organization which studies these alien beings. And it turns out they have the frozen body of the Decepticon leader, Megatron, hidden deep inside the Hoover Dam alongside the Cube. And so Decepticons break into the dam, unfreeze Megatron. Chaos. Bumblebee escapes with the cube and takes it to the middle of the biggest population center he could find to maximize collateral damage. Yeah. And the Autobots team up with the military and have a big battle with the Decepticons. Boom, boom, explosions, kung fu fights, stuff, cool, whatever. Sam eventually gets the cube and uses it to kill Megatron by pushing the cube in his chest, which also destroys the cube. And so without the cube, the Autobots can't restore their homeworld or some crap like that, and they decide to stay on Earth. And so Sam and Michaela make out on top of Bumblebee while all the Autobots watch. Yep.
That was a weird final scene.
It was.
Like Optimus Prime is doing his like epic narration about, oh, we're gonna stay on Earth and the Autobots are important to whatever. And then yeah, they're just like watching Sam and Michaela.
Yeah. Making out on Bumblebee. So
Yeah.
it's kind of weird. While that meme song plays.
Yeah, this is the origin of the great meme.
Face myself. Copyright music.
Great ending. There's a reason it became a meme. It's just so funny.
Yeah, it is like this film released at the perfect time, I think, with
Yeah.
its chaoticness, which there's a lot of stuff about this film that I don't think is aged really well. I think it probably aged like a year or two, and then not so much. But for the smaller period of time it came out in, it was like huge. It was on top of the world. Also came out at around a perfect time because the kids who grew up with the 80s show are now like 20 some, 30, and so this is like their like, we get to see our big robots in live action and whatnot, quote unquote.
Yeah. Though I do have to ask, why is this 2.5 hours long?
Yeah, there's a lot of different plot lines. You have three groups of characters that you're following that somehow connect in the third act, which is the case with the next few films, which is Sam, the military, third act bullcrap. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, okay, we should talk about the two creative visions.
Yeah.
So on the one hand, we have the Spielberg idea of this coming of age adventure about a boy and his car. And I believe one of the writers said that he thought it was such a brilliant idea because, especially in the US, like getting your car is a huge step in your coming of age. It's like, since cars are necessary for so much, especially in like LA, where you can't walk anywhere in LA, even though it's a big city. Um, so that's like a sense of independence. So then to have the car be like a sentient being and have Sam get taken on this big epic adventure of coming of age and learning courage and
Yeah,
belonging
it's
and all of that stuff.
it's simple, but it's like now after watching a couple different animated Transformers projects, I'm like, that's like fine for like the first 30 minutes, but like the Transformers they're soldiers. They're fighting a war. And so having this quiet thing is just kind of taking it away. But it is I get it. It is a classic Spielbergian feeling story, which
Yeah.
they ended up revisiting this concept when we get to the Bumblebee film. So
Yeah, that's what I was thinking reading about this, is that, oh yeah, they did eventually kind of make this with Bumblebee. I haven't seen Bumblebee yet, but just based on the trailer, it feels not just like story-wise but stylistically very much closer to
correct.
Spielberg's. So this is one of those interesting things, because usually I would say, oh, I wish we had gotten the Spielberg version of this, but we actually kind of did get that. So, well, down the line we'll revisit that conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bay kind of brings in this more chaotic action movie, about the military teaming up with some robots to fight some other robots, and
Yeah.
the plot
Yeah.
doesn't matter so much as action and scenes just
Coolness
kind of
is
exist.
coolness is really what Bay was looking for when doing Transformers. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
whatever it does, it has to look cool in some way. And he succeeds in a way. Like a lot of these films, they only survive through a coolness factor a lot of the times, which gets people into seats and makes this a very
yeah,
successful franchise until it's not. Until they run out of coolness.
yeah. I almost wonder, if they had gone the more Spielbergian direction, would this have become this much of a success? And
I don't know.
I don't think we can answer that, because Steven Spielberg is a major filmmaker, and I believe Indiana Jones 4 was this same year, and that made almost as much or more than Transformers did just in that year.
I think it's like a year or two later that it came out.
Okay, yeah, 2008.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could imagine a version of this where like Steven Spielberg either directs or is like taking a bigger role in producing it, and it's more of like a feel good family adventure movie.
But it wouldn't be like an action packed thing where
Yeah,
everything is it's visually stimulating in some sense, whether you got
yeah,
explosions or just the transforming robots or just whatever is going on. There's some sort of stimuli going on with the robots, where Steven Spielberg is a little bit more subtle in terms
yeah.
of things.
And yeah, I think part of why this was such a big success is because it's so visual. It translated very well internationally. Um,
Right. Yeah.
where I mean, you do see comedies or more dialogue based films do successful internationally, but when you're translating something into a different language, the less you rely on dialogue, the better the translation can go. Um, I mean, obviously it depends, but you can
Right.
watch one of these Transformers movies dubbed in a language you don't speak, and you basically have the same experience watching it, because the story and the characters don't matter to the
No.
experience.
Yeah. All you gotta know is big robot wants like Rubik's cube or something, and then they fight, and then one dies or something.
Uh, yeah, but this is, I mean, this movie is just so long. Like, there's
Not
two
really.
movies
Not
here.
really. See, like because you only have seen this first one, you're saying it's long, but like, oh boy, just wait till you get to the other ones, especially Age
Okay.
of Extinction. Like, oh, that's gonna
Oh,
feel like 3 films
oh
once you
boy.
get there. So
But yeah, here we have like there's two MacGuffins because there's like the glasses and then the cube, and then there's like two separate plot lines with three
technically
separate groups of
three,
protagonists.
technically
I
three,
was I
because
was merging the military and the
the
government.
signal is one plot line. The military doing whatever is a different plot line, and then you got
Yeah,
Sam, who pretty much gets most of the exposition in that plot line. So
yeah, and then they all kind of come together and do stuff together, and it
I
was
do like seeing them come together,
yeah,
but like once they do, you feel like the people signal people are just the odd ones out. It's like, okay, they don't really belong in this storyline.
yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong. This is the only time they appear.
Yes, this is their only film. So they
Which
got rid
yeah,
of those
I mean,
that group of people in the next film. So
yeah, that's the one woman character who is treated with an ounce of respect. So obviously she had to go. We'll get to
some
that.
ounce of
We'll get to
respect.
that.
Yes, some ounce of respect.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I so I feel like I want to let you talk about what you like about this.
Well, it's obviously not any of the dialogue, or really the story. I think the story is simple, and that's easy to understand. Simple enough. If you bring it down to like its bare bones essentials, it's a very simple, easy to follow story. The problem is the dialogue. The dialogue muddies everything. It makes stuff that should sound simple and easy just sound weird and gross. I don't know. But for me and probably like 90% of the audience, I'm here for the cool robots. Uh, I just think that they look really cool. When they fight, it's all really cool. I'm here for the coolness factor, and these films deliver, and the VFX still look really cool years later. um, which is, you know, this is part of that 2000s breakthrough of VFX from ILM where you have Davy
Yeah.
Jones, Iron Man, and Transformers, and they stand really well until the 2010s where we're just bloated and there's not enough time to make it look as good as before. But um, yeah, I watched this a lot. I didn't care about the plot. Maybe when I was a teenager, Megan Fox, whatever. But now it's just like I care for the robots. They don't have as much character as I would like them to be, but at least they look cool while doing little what they do.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense to me because yeah, the story isn't engaging. The characters aren't all that interesting.
Yeah,
It's yeah, there isn't much outside
yeah,
the
yeah.
Bayhem of it all.
Especially like this is probably a good introduction piece to
Yeah,
like get you. Oh, cool, giant robots, and then you maybe watch some of the cartoons or something where you get more of the individual characters and the general lore of Transformers. Where you're like, okay, now I'm invested in this uh, weird space war that's going on.
which yeah, I think my issue thus far is two movies in, two very different approaches. I still don't care about any of these characters.
Sure.
Which for me, that's like my approach to media is generally like character first.
Hmm.
Um, so I struggle a lot with this as opposed to like the Barbie movies, where the Barbie movies are very like character forward. Here, this is more like action and spectacle forward, which I like action and
So
spectacle
choose your
when done
favorite
well.
design. It's like, is it going to be Bumblebee, the big yellow one, or is it going to be Optimus, the big truck one, the fire truck one?
Yeah, I just don't have any opinions about any of the Autobots at
Yeah,
all.
which is really a flaw with these Bay films, is that they don't have a whole lot of screen time because they're so expensive to have on screen. So for the
Yeah,
most, they're just there for exposition, um, with like very very small, like maybe they'll go through an arc, maybe they'll go through an arc, like maybe supposedly this film is like the Autobots outside of Optimus are like, oh, why are we helping the humans? They're so bad. And then Optimus is like, oh, free will, choice, or whatnot. But it
he's
doesn't.
like, they are young, a young species, not like us. We've evolved past the need for needless violence, and then the entire movie is them doing needless violence.
Yeah, like it doesn't really. It doesn't. None of the themes or character arcs for the robots really ever come across in any of these films, really, which is a
None of the
shame
themes
because
or character arcs for anyone come across in this film because the visuals go against what the script says.
yeah, yeah. So
We'll talk about that.
And so, yeah, so you have Optimus who's supposed to be this like fighting for the humans, constantly being like, "Hey, we gotta save the humans, guys! Like, we can't. This is their world, like free will,
Yeah.
whatnot. We're the good guys. I will lead the good guys." And others like, "Man, those humans, like, they don't like us. They keep polluting. They keep fighting wars. It's like, what's the point?" It's like Optimus is like, "Oh, they'll fix it. Don't worry, guys." Keep going.
Is Optimus the bad guy?
You know, see, while watching the 80s show, like, I kind of think that the Autobots are kind of the bad guys in a
Okay.
sense. Because, so, the reason why they go to Earth is because Cybertron, they're running out
Yeah.
of energy. And so it's like, okay, we need to find a new home base so we can, like, build up enough energy to retake the home and give energy there. The Decepticons, sure, they they do evil means, but their main goal is to gather energy for Cybertron. And so every episode in the show is the Decepticons do something like deforestation or just try to flood the earth or do nuclear thing to gather the energy for um their homeworld, and the Autobots are like, nah, you can't do that. We'll stop you. We never see the Autobots communicate with the people. It's like, hey, like, we need this thing. They're just hanging out there, just being like, oh, Decepticons, what? Oh, they're stealing Earth's resources. We gotta stop them. And so, from that framing, if you don't really know what the first episode was about, you're kind of thinking it's like, huh, what are these Decepticons doing? Like, sure, they're evil and try to kill, but they're doing exactly what they're supposed to do for their planet, even though they don't actually care about anyone on their planet. It's just that one is one is morally just, the other one's just tactically just, I guess.
Yeah, ends versus means or something.
Correct. So
Although
that's why
it
it
sounds
takes
like the
20
Autobots are.
years. That's why it takes 20 years from the cartoon to the film for them to finally be able to take back Cybertron, because they're slow, I guess. Here,
Oh,
here in this film, it doesn't sound like they even care about Cybertron. It's like, oh, they've given up. We're just gonna live on
yeah.
Earth now. Here's a refugee place now. Autobots, come live here.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we found a nice place to live. We'll just move in here. Which
That's
fair, but
that's pretty much
also
exactly what they did in the show. Kind of. It's, oh, they crash land here. It's like,
yeah.
oh, I guess we'll live with the natives then.
Which is like, sure, why not? But also that's not a good motivation to build a series of movies on.
You're right. I mean, really, they should be focusing on the the war for Cybertron instead of like, oh, we're gonna live here, because each film is each film after this is just it gets convoluted real
I
fast
I wonder
because the
if
initial motivations for why they come to Earth constantly change in each film. Unfortunately,
I wonder if part of the initial idea was these are sort of immortal beings. So their
hmm
sense of time is very different. So for them 20 years might actually be like, "Oh, we're going really quickly to try and get back to our planet."
so here's the thing. So I'm going back to the '80s show.
Yeah.
They escape Cybertron. They crash land on Earth into a volcano or some ice or something, where they're frozen for 4 million years until something wakes them up. Nothing has changed on Cybertron then, except time is passing the exact same way.
Huh.
That whoosh doesn't make sense. So like apparently Megatron, Optimus, they know each other. They fought before. It's been a
Yeah.
really long time since the Cube and Megatron crash landed on Earth. So
Uh,
its timing is just weird. Also, oh,
yeah.
it's gonna get even weirder when we get to the third film. So, or even
Okay.
the second film, because we'll get to them in the coming weeks. But it is you have to watch them from a film to film basis and not as a the timeline, because the timeline doesn't actually make any sense at all. So
Uh, I don't expect it to, because again, I think the primary purpose of these movies, from at least the director's perspective, is action.
yeah,
So everything else is just an excuse for that action. Now, that said, I do find this is sort of like fascinating as kind of a revelation of maybe not just Michael Bay's psyche, but also the psyche of everyone sort of contributing to this. This series we're doing is actually part of a two-parter series that I am doing here. John, you aren't joining for the second part of this two-parter, but comparing two franchises that I think are very similar but don't get compared often, and that's of course the Michael Bay Transformers movies and the Twilight movies. Um, and I think they have a lot in common that doesn't get discussed, just in terms of like they're both franchises made to appeal to teenagers and which function as sort of like wish fulfillment or not. I mean, yeah, wish fulfillment
yes,
for
yes,
teenagers.
yes. Wishful promo.
um
That is for sure.
so yeah, both of them are like an awkward teen protagonist gets adopted by a family of immortal super beings and finds themselves in the middle of a big conflict between good and evil. um Obviously Twilight is more focused on the romance and the interpersonal drama, and Transformers is more focused on the blowing up things. um but there are still like some really interesting like what one of the things that inspired this was ContraPoint's recent video on the Twilight series and sort of fantasy and desire and how those are expressed through Twilight. So I was just kind of curious as I was watching this movie, applying that same lens to Transformers and kind of what the Transformers movies, assuming that Sam, sort of this awkward, kind of nerdy, kind of not nerdy teenager, imagining him as like he's the audience surrogate. So what is the film giving him that the teenagers watching the movie are supposed to feel themselves like relate to and like, oh, that's cool. That in the same way that like Twilight is the fantasy of having a hot boyfriend who is ridiculously attracted to you to the point that it is almost dangerous. Here we have sort of on the surface level, we have the fantasies that everyone can kind of catch on to here pretty easily. Of course, getting a cool car, The cool car also happens to be a sentient robot who's
Yep.
kind of a person, but also kind of your pet. We'll get
Yep.
into Bumblebee's characterization later, but
Also, by the time we get to the next film, we're going to be talking about this again.
oh boy. But yeah, no, it's like having a cool car and then also very importantly impressing the girl. There is that romance aspect, but it's more of like, yeah, the way Megan Fox is framed in this compared to the way Twilight is framed, or Edward is framed in Twilight, is so fascinating. Where they're both framed as like objects of desire, and there are like shots that I'm just realizing right now in both this and in Twilight, the first Twilight movie, that are like so similar, where you have the camera panning across the person's like midsection as they're like, oh,
Yeah.
you're looking at Edward's sparkly abs, or you're looking at Michaela's like torso. Um, so yeah, there is that same thing here, but then Edward is more of a consistent character than Michaela. He's like a Byronic hero, whereas Michaela has character traits that the movie is not interested in exploring.
Or let's clarify this: that Michael Bay is not interested in exploring.
Yeah, yeah, specifically, yeah, that is. But yeah, then there's also these like deeper level desires which I was catching on to. A big one is the desire to be a part of something bigger. And we see this a lot with like the way that Bay fetishizes the military, where it's like it's classic military stuff. We have the like squad of people, and there's the white guy with a wife and a baby back at home. There's the black guy who yells a lot. There's the Latino guy who speaks in Spanish. There's the guy with glasses who's smart, though I think he dies before he could do anything smart.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like the sense of belonging that they feel as part of the military. And this was actually the U.S. military was involved in the production of this film, which is something they'll sometimes do, sort of trying to use film as a recruitment technique. Um, we don't have to talk about whether that's a good thing or not. But
Join
yeah,
the
there's
military. You'll die to giant robots.
yeah. I was surprised by how few of the military people died, though.
I mean, so like you have 5 people who lived from the initial group of like 100 guys, essentially. But then
But
any of
but
the third act guys didn't really die a whole lot that much.
yeah, no, I think it's because it's the characters that you quote unquote care about from the military group are never in danger in a way that
The
feels like,
ones that
oh
you
yeah, no,
follow.
yeah. Finding out that this is like, oh, the US military had a hand in the production of this movie, it makes a lot of sense the way the military is portrayed here as like this giant machine made of people that's like responding to threats, and they're calling stuff in and sending missiles and sending ammo, and oh, we need to do this, that, and the other thing.
Yeah, I was wondering about that because like through these films they have access to like a lot of military like weaponry and it's like, huh, like are they filming with the jets? Are they on the carrier? Or are they
Yeah.
using those flying things? And it's like, really neat. It looks really cool. It's like, whatever.
Yep, that's the access you get to when you agree to make propaganda for the US military.
Yeah, we'll
but
get to
but that
yeah,
plays into
yeah.
this like desire to be part of something bigger. And that's like, I think, the specific Michael Bay side. On the more Steven Spielberg side, we have this idea of the Autobots as a family, and specifically Optimus Prime as a father figure. So throughout the movie, we meet Sam's dad, his like actual father, who is like constantly berating Sam, emasculating him, criticizing him. So, and Bay doesn't lean into this, but it's very much present of Sam does not feel close to his father. Their relationship is not the sort of expected father-son dynamic.
It is
So it,
the parents' relationship is just a weird dynamic in
yeah,
these films because they're in the three films that Buff is in, and it's like, huh, I don't. They're weird in each one.
yeah.
I don't really feel like they're a legitimate family. It's it's
which
it's odd.
which is important to the fantasy because the
Hmm.
Autobots become the family, and you have this very specific moment at the end where Optimus Prime takes Sam aside and is basically like, "I'm proud of you, son,"
But we
and
have
it's
no
like,
bonding time between Sam or the
no,
Autobots.
and that
It's like
that's why,
he drives around with Bumblebee. Uh, let's see. What's the one bonding time they have? I guess when he makes out with Michaela on top in the end.
I mean,
Otherwise, it's
when
just when they're running away from giant robots trying to kill him. There's no
yeah,
like Shia LaBeouf being like, "Hey, this is human culture. Here's human
yeah,
things." I guess you have that one scene where they're trying to like get the glasses from his house and
yeah,
they're disrupting the garden, but like that's about it. After that, the government comes in, and then they have to fight and all that. And then by
yeah,
that point, Optimus is like, we Sam is our friend. We have to protect him.
yeah. I think that's a leftover of the Spielberg idea of, it's like, oh yeah, the Autobots become his family and he like bonds with them. And then Michael Bay kind of gutted most of that stuff out to make space for the military stuff, but there's enough of that left in there that you still have, the scene of Optimus being like, "You did good, son."
Yeah, it's like you can have it. It's your, I guess, like headcanon that this
Yeah.
stuff happened off screen. You fill in the
It's
gaps essentially.
it's there it's there enough to be like, okay, this was at least somewhat intentional. And part of the reason I'm bringing it up is because this is actually part of the Twilight fantasy, is Bella becoming a part of the Cullen family and a new sense of belonging she gets there. Now, her, I guess, yeah, her family is relatively dysfunctional in the movies, which I'll talk about when I do the Twilight episode more in depth. But yeah, the connections there are so interesting to me, and I haven't really ever heard anyone talk about these connections between Twilight and Transformers as these like similar in terms of like the way people view them like quality wise, and then came out at around the same time and have so much in common that I think people miss out on. Now I do think what complicates it is the Michael Bay of it all, because, and this is something I that Lindsay Ellis points out in the whole plate discussion. I don't know that Michael Bay likes Sam Witwicky. And
Probably.
I've heard that as the later movies, it gets more and more apparent that Michael Bay absolutely hates the character of Sam Witwicky.
I don't. I'm sure.
Which is interesting to me because Twilight is, Bella almost functions as a surrogate for the author. Whereas here, since Michael Bay is the author, but he's coming on to a project that was already in development and he's making changes to it. So he's stuck with Sam, but he doesn't like Sam. So I think that's why a lot of Sam's like character development gets taken out, is because Michael Bay isn't interested in Sam. He's interested in the military of it all, the action. Sam is just like the way to get the teenage boys into the audience to relate to the story that they're seeing on the screen. But the important
Yeah,
part is the action,
sure. Which probably
as opposed to
explains what they
Bella.
do with. It probably explains what they do to Sam in the next couple films. Where I don't. I just generally don't like the human aspects of these films because they're only a thing really in these films. Because anything else, you got the comics, the animated stuff. You're just focused on your
Yeah.
Transformers doing their own thing, and the humans are just like second. They're like supporting characters essentially. Like they're in the
Yeah.
background to root for the Autobots essentially, or just like to be the one to push the button that saved the day or something. I don't know. But in these films, it's the other way around where you have to have the humans take centerfold. It's similar to like the Godzilla films, except with the Godzilla
Yeah.
films, the humans are always there in all the films. They're always an aspect. But in Transformers, it's like it starts out with just the robots for animation, and then you have to do live action, and it's too expensive to just have the robots.
Yeah.
Um, so we have to focus a lot on the humans, which comes with problems in the later films. This one, this one I can kind of accept in a way.
Yeah, we'll talk about Sam further down when we get to characters. But yeah, I think the other fantasy I caught on to here is a sort of fantasy of saving the day. And this ties into the like belonging to something bigger and impressing the girl things, but it is kind of separate from that.
Oh my gosh.
What's up?
So, all right. So this is gonna be Sam's character arc in the third film,
Okay.
saving like being part of something bigger and saving the day. That is his whole arc essentially.
So he kind of reverts back to point one
Uh
of the character arc.
somewhat. It's we'll get to that when we get to the film, but
Which makes sense for the story. Um and it's one of the things that interesting about Transformers versus Twilight, because Twilight also, Bella goes through cycles of, she feels awkward and undesirable. Edward loves her. She feels loved, but then she goes back to feeling awkward and undesirable. So it's going in circles. But eventually, you get to the point where, spoilers for Twilight, Bella becomes a vampire. And from that moment forward, she has reached self actualization and her character arc is complete. And she moves forward and she has now become the person that she has wanted to be throughout the series. Whereas Sam, from what I have heard, spoilers for Transformers, disappears from the story after the third movie and then gets killed off screen.
I don't know about the killed off screen part.
Okay.
I don't recall that while watching the film. It's probably true, but that's kind of how it feels like, because it's like nobody ever talks about Sam after that third film.
So yeah, it's just fascinating to like, you have on the one hand a story where like the fantasies are being fulfilled, and then on the other hand you have a story where the creator hates the main character so much that he's just like, no, I'm not gonna do that. And then brings in a different main character who we will
Well,
talk about when we get to that.
I mean, it's also around that time where Shia LaBeouf, around the time the fourth film came out, was going through Shia LaBeouf stuff.
Yeah.
So that was probably a thing. Plus, like, his contract was probably a 3-film thing. So he probably didn't want to come back because he wasn't as successful, I guess.
Yeah. Well, we can talk about that when we get to performances. But yeah, the save the day fantasy, that I think a lot of people can relate to, that sort of like being the hero.
Sure.
One thing that I've heard, and I know for myself, is like, I don't know if you ever had this, but growing up with like school shootings or like stuff happening in schools, if I was bored in class, every once in a while I would imagine, what if like a school shooter came through the door and I was able to stop him?
I mean, yes. Like all the time.
Yeah. And
I'd
that's
be
just
like,
like,
okay, what's my tactics? Am I gonna
yeah.
push over my desk? I'm gonna save the girl.
Which this is the fantasy that this film is indulging in. And I think people talk about it less than Twilight because that's kind of the fantasy of every superhero movie.
Hmm.
Versus Twilight, people were less familiar with the fantasies that Twilight was exploring, so it stood out a bit more. So maybe that's why there hasn't been as much discourse on Transformers in this way. But that's kind of why I wanted to bring this stuff up. Because
Sure.
yeah, that
Yeah.
is this is what it is played to. It is played to this fantasy of being the hero, this fantasy of getting a cool car and getting the girl and being part of the big family, military, Autobots, whatever. So yeah, on that level, I was at least finding stuff to engage with on that level,
Right.
but I wasn't. The story itself was not drawing me in at all. So I gave the story a 2 out of 5.
Yeah. With doing these Bay films, because they're unique in a way where you can somewhat have a competent plot, but all of that gets destroyed by the dialogue. So, how I've decided to rate my stories or characters is I'm gonna the baseline is gonna be one thing, and then I'm gonna deduct zero point 0.5 for dialogue. So,
Okay.
um, that's why I gave it a 2.5.
Well, yeah. On to the characters. We talked a bit about Sam.
Yeah,
I was surprised how much I was rooting for him.
yeah, sure.
Like, there is a good coming of age movie buried somewhere in here, with maybe a few like
Yeah,
extra scenes added in here or there.
yeah, yeah, but like a lot, most of his scenes with Michaela are just so they're so awkward. There's no chemistry
You see,
between the two.
yeah, the lack of chemistry is a problem. I like the awkwardness of it because that's like the teenage experience.
Yeah.
It's like the awkward conversations with your parents and the awkward moments and the like that this is what I was missing so much of. There's one school scene. My ideal version of this movie, like the school is a central setting.
Okay. I wouldn't
More
like that, but
yeah,
okay.
more of like I mean Twilight. I'll just use that as an example because it's a good example where it's like the first Twilight, they're always at school, they're doing stuff at school, they're having classes. Bella has her friends that are like getting involved in petty drama, and you have this sort of like that side of the coming of age thing. You can tell that Michael Bay does not want to make that kind of movie. That's probably more of the Spielberg kind of movie here. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's the remnants of the Spielberg movie are what I latched onto most. And a lot of that is in Sam's sort of character arc and characterization as they are.
I
He,
don't have a whole lot to say about Sam.
yeah, I think another part of the problem is that his involvement in the plot is that he has his grandfather's glasses.
And also Bumblebee was his car.
Like like you were saying, yeah. But even that is like because as you were saying, he doesn't develop a relationship with the Autobots.
Yeah. No, the
Even
Autobots just
Bumblebee.
kind of like adopt. Yeah, they kind of just adopt him.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, he's mine now. They're, yeah, basically.
Which not to go back
It,
to
it,
the
it's
Lindsay
harder.
Ellis
It's
videos
harder
too
for
much.
Bumblebee as well because like he speaks through the radio,
Yeah.
which it was definitely kind of a cool gimmick at that time, but like I don't really love it anymore.
I
I
yeah. I think it could have worked in a fun way, but I was curious like how are they going to make that legible? And the answer was, "Oh, they aren't going to even try. It's just going to be like a couple of times that he tries to communicate something with the radio.
Yeah,
And beyond that,
it's mostly going to be like wisecracks and like film quotes,
yeah,
that may or may not have anything to do. And like
yeah,
the radio thing stays with Bumblebee the entire franchise for the live action
okay.
films. Like, sure, the end of this film, he gets his voice back. It's gone. It's gone. Like, they keep ending the films with like, he's got his voice back. The next film, it's gone again.
Too much of Michaela and Sam make it out on top of him, ruined his vocal cords or something.
Oh Lord, yeah.
Yeah, no, Sam. Yeah, he doesn't have anything to do with anything except that he has the glasses and Bumblebee. But I mean, yeah, there's no sense of a relationship developing between any of these characters. And not to keep going back to the Lindsay Ellis videos, but one thing she points out is that no one in these movies like each other. Like, none of these characters enjoy spending time together.
Right. Yeah, they're always in a hurry
even
to go
Sam
somewhere
and Michaela. Else. Yeah. You don't get the sense that any of these people are friends.
Mm-hmm. Optimus is really about getting the glasses to get the cube.
Yeah.
To get it out of somewhere, push it to my chest or whatnot.
Yeah. That's the one moment of genuine connection between two characters. Is Optimus being like, "You did a good job, Sam." Besides that, like, even when Michaela is talking with Sam, he isn't paying attention to what she's saying. He's paying attention to how she looks. She has an entire like character arc here, hidden in here somewhere, and it doesn't come across because the movie Michael Bay is not interested in that at all.
Yeah, like you probably miss a whole lot of Michaela and her sub context and themes.
Yeah.
If you look at the script, you probably see it there, but like watching these films, you don't get it because Megan Fox is not there to convey any of this. She's hired to look pretty, which is a shame.
It is, because we'll talk about it when we get to performances. I think she is a good performer. I think the reason people think she's a bad performer in this is because of exactly what we're saying, which is that the camera is not interested in her performance.
Yeah, and it's a similar issue with the second film, which is probably why she didn't return for the third film.
Yeah, there was a falling out between her and Bay, which I'll do more research into that so we can talk about it when we get to that point. But yeah, no, if you haven't seen it, anyone who's listening to this, the Lindsay Ellis videos, there is one that is specifically about Michaela and Megan Fox and how she is framed in this. And the really interesting thing she does is she starts the video by telling the story of Transformers from Michaela's perspective, where she gets involved with this thing. First off, her dad is in jail and she was sent to juvie. She knows how to work with cars, but no one around her respects her enough to like understand that she is good with cars. And then this like idiot kid comes along and like gets wrapped up in this giant alien plot, and she's like, I guess I'm wrapped up in this too. And then she like saves the day by doing various things in the final action scene. And then all of the credit goes to Sam because he held on to a giant cube
and pushed it into Megatron's chest.
Well, she's driving a truck through an active war zone with a giant robot strapped to the back that's like shooting. Oh wait, no, she's backing up the truck, isn't she?
Yes, she's
driving back. Why is she
high
not
speeds?
The protagonist? Why?
And then that's the end of her role. Is that she helps defeat one Decepticon, and then she doesn't really come back until they make out, I guess.
Yeah. No, Michael Bay is not interested in this character at all beyond like it's classic so everyone most people know the Bechdel test, which is about are there two women characters who talk to each other in a movie? But there's also one of my favorites, which is the sexy lamp test, which is if you replace the central female character with a sexy lamp, would the plot change? And the answer for this one is it would, but it wouldn't matter because she is so deprioritized that the only effect she ultimately has on the plot is that she was there and she was pretty.
Yeah, honestly, it'd be a much more comedic film if Sam was going after a lamp.
It would be a better film because then at least Michael Bay is being honest about how he sees this character. Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, it's like, yeah, there is, as written, she is a potentially interesting character, but it isn't the version that we see here. Because she has this whole thing about like no one pays attention to her or respects her, and the movie is participating in that. It's like no self-awareness on the part of anyone who was filming these scenes as she is delivering these lines about how no one is paying attention to who I actually am. They just think I'm pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no. Just as an adult watching this, it's just sad to see. I just I don't like this.
Yeah. Now we've talked a bit about Bumblebee. He's the Edward, the true Edward of this story, and that he's the immortal being who is constantly saving Sam from danger,
Okay.
including by like showing up in the middle of a scene in well, as a car, like get in, driving away.
Yeah,
Although he doesn't, Bumblebee doesn't stop himself from like murdering people, but
which is like everything. It's like the Autobots, they don't kill people, apparently, but I don't know.
Bumblebee really was like, I have the MacGuffin of the movie that everyone is after. Let me go to the middle of downtown LA.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't.
look, there's a lot of buildings with a lot of people. Let me take this very dangerous artifact that everyone is going to be fighting over right
Mhm.
there.
Yep. It's
I know, I know we have to have the action scene, but it does not look good on Bumblebee's part.
yeah. No, they go to the city and then they stay there. They pop up flares for the military to come in or something in the city. I guess like what they're
Imagine
trying to do is like get some visual cover so that Megatron doesn't see them or whatnot, but like that doesn't matter.
there are mountains. They were in the mountains. The Hoover Dam is in the mountains.
But I guess that's like very obvious to see. It's like, look at that, they're in the mountains. I don't know. I don't know.
I, I will tell you why they go to downtown LA. It's because it is a more
It looks cooler.
spec. Yeah, the
Yeah.
spectacle is bigger if it is
Yes.
downtown LA.
Correct.
Which is I mean that's what we're saying here. This is Michael Bay rule of cool. Doesn't matter if it makes sense with the story.
Yeah. Wait till we get to later films. Then oh gosh. Cool.
I okay. We'll talk about the visuals when we talk about the visuals, but I like Bumblebee more when he was like the car than when he was the robot. I think the connection between him and Sam works better when Bumblebee is in robot form. Now that's probably mostly because that's the only interactions they have are when he's not in robot form, but
I see what you mean. Like, there's more dynamic to things because Bumblebee
Yeah.
communicates through like the radio, the movement of the seats,
Yeah.
different aspects. He's like Herbie when we first meet him,
Yeah.
essentially. Um, but I don't know. I just really like Bumblebee's robot design in this one. It's
Okay.
probably my favorite Bumblebee design out there. For, but yeah, whatever. That's just me.
Yeah. We'll talk about the designs when we talk about the designs. I think
Sure.
we're gonna have a bit of a disagreement there.
I don't know. We'll see.
But yeah, Optimus Prime, again, we've talked about him. He's like the stoic father figure type character. He's yeah, I don't know. I wish the film had been a bit more intentional in leaning into like the relationship between him and Sam and building something there. But again, that's obviously not what Michael Bay is interested in, so that's not what we
No.
got.
Yeah, because there's no time because you gotta do the other
It's a
people.
two
I
and a
guess.
half hour movie. We need another action scene. Uh,
Let's now go to these people while they're doing other stuff.
so so just for a second with me, imagine the Spielberg version of this,
Hmm.
where no military stuff. I think you even get rid of the like government stuff. Though I think the like the thing with the hackers and analysts, the signal plot line, I think you called it. I think that is a holdover from an older version of the script just because it's the only woman character who is given any amount of respect in the movie.
Hmm.
Um but yeah, if it's just the Sam plot line, it's like, oh, this kid, he like buys a car and it turns out, oh, the car's a robot. And he and the robot like bond and stuff. And he like starts this romance with the girl. And then there's this like big action scene. And then these other robots show up. And it's like Sam suddenly has the sense of belonging that he's never had before, of like people looking out for him the way his family has never looked out for him. And you get this like bond between them. And then Megatron shows up and he's like trying to destroy the Autobots, and Sam has to save the day with the Allspark, and everyone like Michaela gets her big action scene, and then everyone like celebrates. Like
Yeah,
there's character arcs and relationships and people caring about each other.
yeah. I mean, that one is more of a classic story that it's kind of been
Yeah.
done before, but not at this scale. I don't think. But I don't know. I wouldn't as love it
Yeah.
as much or whatever.
Okay. That's fair to say. I think it would be a very different kind of
It'd be a
story.
different film. Yeah.
Yeah. Um I would probably have enjoyed it better, but again, I connect to characters more than action.
Sure.
So,
Yeah. I kind of prefer the military aspect of this film because
okay.
I don't know. I feel like
I
that's where a
mean,
lot of the energy. I feel like those people are more qualified to be part of this war than just this teenage boy who
yeah.
somehow gets
I
into three separate conflicts in films.
that's a good point actually, of like what if you just cut out the Sam character entirely? Now, I think the reason they don't do that is because they still
Well,
want this to
it's
appeal to
because we
teenage boys.
also like this is we have to keep in mind the general audience. They need like that one human character to attach to. Um,
Yeah.
the military version of this film is probably going to be Battleship, which is not as engaging. So that's probably why they.
Yeah.
But really, the film should focus on the robots and their mission and their quest to like fight for the humans. Instead,
Yeah.
I get it's it's interesting all around, depending on how you do it. But this one is something. I don't know.
It splits the difference between a bunch of different things, and as a result, kind of ends up being none of them.
Sure, like there's probably something for you in this film. There's not much of it, but there's probably something here for you.
Yeah, no, there's something everyone will enjoy in this movie
If you like the military stuff, here's some of it.
for a very
If you-
short amount of time, and the rest of it you will not enjoy.
If you like the coming of age story with a car, here you go. If you like weird teenage humor, here you go. So
the military guys.
Well, there's also the Autobots, the other Autobots in general.
Oh,
They're
yeah, I
there.
didn't even put them here.
You know, do you know how casual one of them dies and no one really bats an eye?
I believe so because I was watching the Lindsay Ellis videos and she mentioned someone dying, and I was like, "What?" But
It's like, yeah,
okay.
the short silver one gets ripped in half by Megatron, and he does a pun. It's like, oh, you want a piece of me? You want a piece of me? He rips him in half and says, no, I want two. And then, but like, nobody points it out until the end of the battle where Optimus holds like the two parts and it's like, oh, Jazz. And then that's it. That's all we get. It's like, you don't even...
It's like, so, okay.
So inconvenient. It's like, oh, Jazz. Okay. He's no character.
So I should say how I watched this, because I was like, yesterday I realized, oh no, I need to watch this for... I was an hour into the director's cut of Rebel Moon, so nothing had happened, but there had been a lot of scenes. And I was like taking it 20 minutes at a time, taking breaks for snacks, because it's not intentionally, but like something would come up, like I would get a message from someone and I would be like, oh, I'll just pause the movie a second to like respond to this message, and I would be like, oh, I'll go upstairs for a snack. Oh, look, the Olympic Games are on, I'll watch some of those. Then go back down, watch another 20 minutes of Rebel Moon. Something else comes up. Oh, I'll just pause this for a bit. And then at a certain point, I realized, oh, I need to watch a Transformers movie today. I'll just knock that out quickly before dinner time. And then I started it, and it's like 2.5 hours long. And I was like, oh boy. So by the time it was dinner time, and there were still 40 minutes left in the movie, I had a headache, I think from wearing my glasses all day. So for the last 40 minutes of the movie, I did not have my glasses on, because I kind of figured, we'll get to the visuals, I kind of figured it's a similar experience, me not wearing my glasses and watching the movie versus me wearing my glasses and watching the movie. So I did not catch that Jazz had been torn in half. And when Megatron said the line of like, oh no, not Jazz, I probably just thought, oh, I didn't realize Optimus Prime didn't like jazz music.
Yeah, no. It's like, no, Jazz is the only Autobot casualty in this film. And it's such like a very quick moment that honestly we should care about Jazz dying more than how it is.
He had
and then you have like 5 Decepticons being killed in cool fashions. Jazz ripped in half. That's the end of Jazz.
Too bad
like,
Ryan Gosling wasn't there to save him.
Yeah, I mean, like, Jazz is like a fan favorite character from other media, so him
I'm
dying
putting
here
my own
is
drum
like a
roll in
shame.
there for my joke. I'll have to edit it a few seconds back.
Yeah, so like I was always sad for Jazz dying because I liked him in the cartoons, and it's like, oh, that's all we get for Jazz, him being stereotypically black. He's always been stereotypically black and whatever, but his dialogue here, oh boy, something else. But he was the silver car that blended into the background, essentially. He was the brown Bionicle in this film, essentially. The one that you don't think about immediately.
Then he just gets killed
Ripped in
unceremoniously.
half unceremoniously.
You
You got the touch.
They should have brought that back for this. Just anytime anything slightly traumatic is happening on screen.
You got the touch.
The military guys.
I mean, I don't really care as them as characters. I like them as just like the guys that you want them to win or whatnot. I don't care about them personally, except for the one guy who has a kid at home. That's really the one you should care for.
Josh
Except
Duhamel, I think.
yeah, no, in the other films that he comes back in, we never go back to the family. The family is only in this film. They're never
I dropped
mentioned
the
again.
pretense.
They're never mentioned again. So we don't know what he's fighting for after this.
That moment at the beginning where he's like, "Oh, are they on the call?" And then it's his like picture perfect wife with their picture perfect baby. I was like, "Are we doing this? Do we have to do this? We just had the scene of the Latino guy speaking in Spanish. Do we have to do this?"
Sure.
Like this is just, I've seen this before so
Yeah.
many times, even though I don't think I've seen this at all, but it just feels so, every element of it feels so
It is an interesting way to open your film with the Decepticon just obliterating the military.
it is not, however, an interesting way to open your film with like the generic military guys in a helicopter doing boring banter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was out of this as soon as it started. I was just like, I will say, Alligator is having eaten, I think technically I ate caiman. I don't know. It does taste good. It's like chicken, but with the like feel and texture of steak.
Well, they're here.
Yep.
They shoot gun. They yell.
They
They
do
kill
yell.
one or two guys at the end, which is like great for them because they've been losing the entire time. And like they just grab this kid and be like, "Okay, kid, you're a soldier
What
now."
happened to the kid? Did he just like disappear? I guess they took him back to his home, which was
kid?
the scorpion.
Oh,
fight scene.
that kid. Oh, no. They went
Oh,
to
you were
his
you were talking about
village
Sam.
No, yeah, Sam. I was talking about Sam.
Okay.
No. Oh, yeah, that kid. Apparently his village is like ruins. Apparently that's supposed to be his home, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's there.
That tracks with Michael Bay's general opinion of non-white people. Oh boy, we don't have time to
just wait to the next film where we go to Egypt.
Oh boy, yeah.
Oh boy,
yeah. The kid reminded me of, because there's that kid in every military movie, the like local kid who's buddy with all of the U.S. military people, so that the audience doesn't feel bad about the U.S. military occupied this territory.
You got the touch.
I'm just gonna play that anytime there's like an awkward silence.
Yeah,
the Pentagon people who are in the Pentagon.
They were generic. Nothing really important going on. Even the analysts that do stuff, I guess, I wish they did other stuff than just, wow, here's a weird sound. It's alien.
Yeah, the one lady, insane that is her conclusion, and that she brings it to the Secretary of Defense. She's like a low-level analyst, and she goes to the Secretary of Defense and says, I think it's aliens, and I think they're like mechanical aliens. What are you basing that on? The only reason that comes off as smart is because it is right in the movie. She has no reason to believe that.
Yeah, and then
She
she
could have said,
takes
"I
the
think it's
information
the squids. I think the squids under the water. They're the ones doing this."
I got the amateur guy who lives in his
Yeah.
grandma's house or something.
Oh, that scene. Okay, so first off, she's like, I need to like go to the one hacker who can figure this out. And then she like starts putting on makeup as if she's gonna like seduce him. And I
Well,
was like,
no,
oh no, where is this going?
she was hiding the stuff in the makeup.
Oh, I missed that. Okay.
Yeah.
That is smart. I will hand that to them. That is actually
Okay.
smart. I missed that. Good on them. But then she goes to this house. Oh, it's everything in that house felt so based in like racist cliches. Like someone just
Yeah,
looked up what are the top 10 racist cliches about black people and then wrote a scene around it.
it's very much of this time period. And
Yeah, it's
only lasted like 1 year until we felt bad about it.
it's so bad. That's how all of the minority characters are treated in this movie, by the way. It's like
In all the films, really.
honestly, if you told me that is consistent through all of Michael Bay's films, I would 100% believe that based on this. Maybe he's gotten I don't remember. Six Underground I think had some of this but toned down, but that was also a bad movie. Worse than this one, probably. Anyway, we don't need
Things
to
get
talk about
slightly toned down for each film, but then so does like everything else.
that. Then yeah,
All
we
right.
have the Sec Def.
Yep, Sec Def.
Why
Oh,
didn't
boy.
anyone inform him about Sector 7? That would have saved so much time. You could cut out like 40 minutes of the movie if someone had told him about Sector 7.
Man, you have Totoro's character. Is that how you say his name? Totoro?
Chituro, yeah.
Yeah. That's a what? That character. Just sure there's some chaotic entertainment value in it, but my gosh.
We'll talk about Totoro's character. Yeah, Totoro separate from the character. The character as he stands in the movie can't decide if he's comedic relief, if he's the embodiment of government incompetence, or if he's the guy we're supposed to be rooting for to do the right thing at the right moment. So he's just kind of all three, and he moves very quickly between the three, like in the middle of scenes. And he's so bad at his job.
I didn't like him at all.
His way of like interrogating children to like figure out if they have seen aliens is to like antagonize. I don't know what is going on with him.
He's weird. Like he's in the next couple films as well. I think he's done better in those, but
Okay,
he's still really weird.
He feels like the character the most to me that was like split between different scripts. Where like you have the Spielberg version of this character, which is the like the lawyer from Jurassic Park, the like incompetent guy who gets killed off for comedic relief. But then you have the Michael Bay version of it, who's like, yeah, I don't know, the Decepticons.
All the Decepticons are like either silver, black, or brown.
Yes,
and not really.
There's the yellowish one.
Is there though?
The like construction equipment D one.
That's the brown one I was saying. The light tan one.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, he's the only one that stands out outside of the two named character from the classic series, Megatron and Starscream. But besides that, I don't know who they are. They look cool in action scenes.
There's the little one that infiltrates Air Force One
Oh yeah, that one.
with George W. Bush. This was back when they would like try and be like, we're not going to say this is George W. Bush, but we also aren't showing his face. Where usually they're like, we're showing his face and he like looks like whoever the current president is, but where he's not, like, he's his own character, so we don't get in trouble.
Or otherwise, it's
like,
some
oh, no,
generic old white guy.
Yeah. Which, I mean, 90% of the time, well, not 90% of the time, but if you're gonna like cast for the US president, old white guy is the stereotype.
It's a safe bet, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. When is this episode coming out? That may not be the case when this episode comes out, but I think this episode comes out before the election.
Let's not. Let's not.
You got the touch.
Sam's parents.
Oh boy.
They are terrible parents.
I don't like any of their scenes. Like, their dialogue is horrendous, and it's the same. It's the same in each film. You like them? Mean, I don't.
They're just funny. They're chaotic. They feel like they're the only characters outside of Sam that kind of fit in with like the mania. I guess you do have the like various minority characters who are also yelling loudly, and the John Turturro character to a certain extent. But like, yeah, every time we cut back to Sam's parents, they felt like they were caricaturized enough to fit within the world of the movie. Where every other character felt like there's a depth here that the movie isn't going into. With Sam's parents, it's like there is no depth to them, so the fact that the movie isn't going into any depth with them is perfect.
I just didn't care for that. Yeah, because there's not much depth to them, I didn't really care for them at all. And like they're also the ones that are playing during the credits, doing, I guess,
that was fun.
Some improv from the actor, the actress. I don't know. They're really mostly comedic relief, and I didn't really care about their comedic relief. Like, I'm here for the robots, not what they're doing.
That's fair.
That should be stated. I've stated this. I'm here for the robots.
If I cared about Transformers as a franchise, I would probably be less forgiving of the parents not being interesting characters. But because I'm approaching this from, I'm just grasping at anything that is even slightly entertaining to me.
I mean, it's not just that. For me, most of the dialogue is just really cringy.
I think with the parents, it's intentionally cringy.
But part of it's also just the time period that this is written for. It's like I said, the dialogue was fine for like that 1 year, and then became really cringy.
I enjoyed their scenes, but yeah, I gave the characters overall a 2 out of 5, and I'm gonna give them a 1 out of 5. There's way too much missed potential.
Yeah, I'm giving them a generous 2.5.
So yeah, on to the visuals. I want you to start with the positives first.
I think visually during action, it's chaotic, it's kinetic, like I said earlier, it's stimulating in some sense. There's moments where the robots are fighting, and I'm like, that looks really cool. I'm cheering, especially the one where Optimus and that yellow brown one is fighting on the bridge, and he rips his head off. It's like, that looked really cool. Um, Stuff like that is great, and again, a lot of that has to do with the solid visual effects. Uh,
Yeah. You sent the video to me, which I watched while I was at work, from the channel CGY, who
mhm.
does a breakdown of the VFX work and why it is impressive. Which I appreciate that. That did bump up my score a little bit here.
Yeah, it's also just like even years later where you have things like maybe the Avengers film where some things were like Hulk looks great, but then Iron Man's suit doesn't look as great. But here, with the next couple of Transformers films as well, like the robots look really solid, and a lot of that is of course explained in those videos where like they just put so much detail to make them look solid.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I think like the framing and camera work was all right as well. I don't know how to interpret any of that, but it was there. It was doable.
Yeah. For me, I mean, part of it is Michael Bay's style doesn't appeal to me,
Sure.
of like the constantly moving camera, everything as maximalist as possible. Um but yeah, then the other thing for me is that the quality and the technology they're using is really impressive for the Transformers. They're really well realized. I think the designs are not good. Not
Yeah,
the like base of the designs, but there's just too much going on. I felt like a character in an H.P. Lovecraft story who's like, the alien, it was indescribable. It had like a stuff and things, and oh, it's so terrifying. But I
yeah.
can't, like, my brain can't focus on any part for long enough. It just looks like metal
It
parts.
is. It is very. There's a lot going on. The middle.
Yeah.
So like you really have to have some sort of solid design. So you're probably only going to pay attention to maybe their heads and maybe the arms and their weapons. But
But the heads are so, there's
yeah,
so many pieces.
there's so many pieces. Um, I do prefer the simplistic designs of Generation One. Um, like I can appreciate the amount of effort and work that went into like the crazy small pieces and whatnot
Yeah.
that still look solid, but um, they don't always work for every character. Um, I think Optimus and maybe Bumblebee are the two ones that I think look fine. Everyone
Okay.
else, it looks like it's busy to look busy.
For me, even with Bumblebee and Optimus, I was just like, you asked me to describe them, and I can describe like generally, but even like looking at them in the movie when they are moving around, like my brain does not know what to focus on. And I think
Yeah,
watching the video, and they talked a lot about the process they did for like creating realistic reflections. It's too much. These characters don't need to be that reflective.
see,
I respect the
when they're
technology and the effort
standing
that went into it.
still, when they're standing
Yeah,
still, just standing there, I think they look great. But in the
yeah.
movement, you're losing. You can't. There's just so many moving pieces that you can't really
Yeah.
comprehend the
It's
details.
it's
So like
it's an
they actually
Eldritch abomination.
they
It is
translate
H.P.
really
Lovecraft.
well for like an action figure. It's like the action figure looks really cool,
Yeah.
except they can't really transform as well because they're so darn complicated. The toys. Um, but it looks
Yeah.
cool, I guess. Yeah. So not yeah. some of the character designs don't stand out as much. I also like the toy the toy lines originally had very bright colors as well to help you identify the characters.
I think that's another problem.
Yeah, like Optimus, Bumblebee. Optimus is blue, red. Actually, like half the characters are either red, blue, with a bit of silver. But Decepticons,
Yeah.
Megatron, all silver. He doesn't really have his red and black accents. I don't know what the heck they did to Starscream. I guess he looks more like a jet, but like, where's his red? Where's his blue? Where's the elements of his character that make him stand out? It just doesn't look as pretty.
Yeah. I'm curious to see as we go along if this is how the designs change. And I'm looking right now at the trailer for the 2018 Bumblebee movie. And even then the designs are still a little over designed, but I have a better sense of the character and the movement. It's a little bit more simplified. And
Yeah,
there
it's a
isn't
lot
as
more
much
simplified.
reflectiveness.
They also did try to go back more towards classic designs, where like very
Yeah.
recognizable shapes and such. Whereas here they were going all in on like metallic car robot thing.
Yeah. And even like, okay, now it's like, I think that's RC, who's a little bit more shiny, a little bit more over designed. And yeah, that doesn't quite work as well for me. So yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to Bumblebee. But yeah, for me it's like, I respect the technical prowess behind it. I just thought it looked bad. And it's a problem, and that's why I took off my glasses at a certain point, because I was getting a headache. Because I was just like, watching these action scenes, my brain isn't processing any of the information here. So it doesn't matter if I'm looking at it and it's a little blurry. Like, it has the
Sure.
same effect on me, because my brain does not compute the stuff going on. And I can imagine if I had watched this in a theater as a kid the way you did, I would have a very different understanding of it.
I
Or
suppose.
even on
I
like
also
just a bigger screen.
also like I just really like seeing action scenes that look
Yeah.
really cool. Like I like the fourth John Wick film. It has a lot of problems in it, but
Yeah.
at least I like the way the action looks, even if it goes
I-
on for 30 minutes.
Yeah, I like the way the action looks. My issue with John Wick, I mean, similar to this one, the action scenes are all 10 minutes too long. But yeah, the
Oh.
visuals. I understand what you're saying, and I think part of it is just the way I watch movies, and then also, yeah, not growing up watching these,
Yeah,
so I'm less familiar with. It's like when you start playing a new video game and it has like really high quality graphics, and you get to like a new area and you're like, wait a second, where's the like path I'm supposed to follow? Where am I supposed to go? Because it's like everything is so detailed that you end up losing the stuff you're supposed to be paying attention to, versus someone who's been playing that game for a while already knows what to pay attention to and has a better
sure.
feel for what's going on. So yeah, out of like respect for the technical prowess, I gave the visuals a 3.5.
I gave it a 4.
So yeah, next up, performances. I was surprised how much I liked a lot of these performances. I think this is like, they're hiring good character actors to fill out the supporting roles.
Yeah, I mean they're hiring good actors. It's just they're giving them terrible dialogue. I feel.
Yeah, which yeah, I think that is. So yeah, maybe we should start with Shia LaBeouf as Sam Witwicky. Shia LaBeouf, who is a problematic figure to say the least. We won't get into it here, but you can.
He is
Google
very good
the-
at like fast paced, screaming,
Yeah, no,
chaos stuff.
he nails this role so well. It reminded me a bit of another problematic performer giving a good manic performance, Ezra Miller in The Flash, or even like
Oh,
Mel Gibson in like What Women Want, of like these very manic performances in roles that could very easily be annoying, and yet somehow they like hit the right level of mania where it actually kind of works.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did not go into this expecting to enjoy Sam as a character, and I think a lot of that is the performance.
I don't know if I really cared for Sam as a character. Um, like Shia LaBeouf is giving a heck of a performance, like
Yeah,
screaming and matching the energy, but like I just never really felt like the energy was really worth it. Like any of the dialogue was really helping him doing what he needs to do the best to convey the character to me, at least. Because also like
yeah,
this energy is
that's
consistent with the next couple films as well, and so there's
yeah.
not much
I
change.
Yeah, I will probably be tired of this by the time I watch the second movie, so we'll revisit this next episode. Um, Josh Duhamel as the military guy, he's just playing the role.
Yeah,
There's not much to it. Um, Megan Fox, I feel bad for her because
yeah.
she, when given the right material, like in Jennifer's Body, she is very good at playing these roles and like subverting the expectations you expect for her based on how she looks. But Michael Bay just isn't interested in exploring that side of her. She's just there to be pretty, even though the character isn't written that way. Like, I could imagine Megan Fox reading this script and being like, finally, a character who is more than just a pretty face. And then watching the final product here and being so disappointed at how it turned out.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. Yeah. Then we have, I would say most of the performances here, the performances are not the issue. I did want to
No,
highlight John Turturro, who, similar to Shia LaBeouf, I think playing a character, this character I actually do find annoying, but John Turturro just has such a weird energy that it kind of works.
it's a little bit endearing the way
Yeah.
the way his energy is, but again, I I feel like a lot of the dialogue hinders him because like here
Yeah.
he's random in a lot of his
Yeah.
dialogue. He'll say the most random stuff.
Yeah. Like, the scene where they like force him to strip and he's like wearing the Aloha boxers, and it's just kind of like out of
Why does
nowhere.
he have a Sector 7 Superman shirt? Like
Yeah.
it's supposed to be a secret thing. Why does he have a shirt with the
I mean,
logo
it's
on it?
character as consistent as his character gets,
Uh,
but uh it's it's wild to be like, have this character actor who, he gives it his all, he is giving a good performance, it just does not work because the character, although it does kind of work, as you were saying, it's endearing. I will watch more of him when he shows up in the next ones just to see what kind of craziness he's up to. That scene where it's him and Shia LaBeouf and Megan Fox in the car all arguing together, that is one of the better performance scenes in the film, because it's just like these actors getting the chance to just like go at each other and have fun with it and be a little chaotic.
hmm.
And that's the scene where you get some of Megan Fox's backstory, and yeah, I enjoyed that part of it. We also have John Voight as the SecDef John Keller, who I was surprised. He did a good job. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. John Voight is another problematic actor. Weirdly, he and Shia LaBeouf are both in the new Francis Ford Coppola movie. Which, speaking of problematic, um, oh boy,
You got the touch.
uh, yeah. I mean, I know you don't like these characters, but Kevin Dunn and Julie White as Sam's parents. I mean, so Kevin Dunn is in the TV show Veep, which I love, playing one of the most hilarious characters. So I think that might be part of why I like this character, just because Kevin Dunn is playing a similar character in a different thing that I like. But they just have like so much energy, and they're matching what the film wants them to do.
Sure.
Like whether you like those characters or not, they are 110% committed, and they have really good chemistry together. Yeah,
Yeah,
I was
they do.
surprised. I did not expect to walk out of the Transformers movie being like, oh, I actually kind of liked a lot of these performances, weirdly.
Hmm. I do like that they brought back the original voice of Optimus Prime for this one. They could have
Yeah.
so easily done what they did with Megatron, which is just after a big name like Hugo Weaving. Although Hugo Weaving does sound really cool as Megatron.
Yeah.
But that's that.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
None of the voice actors get much to do.
No, which is a real shame because you'd think for like a Transformers franchise, you'd have your Transformers um, characters be like the main focus. But like
Yeah.
in all the credits, they're always at the bottom of the list. Like all the voice actors, even if they hire big names, they're always in the bottom of the list.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, well, that's voice acting for you.
Yeah. I gave the performances here a 4 out of 5. I enjoyed the performances. They made the movie a little bit more tolerable.
I gave it a 3, and again, that's taking off points for dialogue.
Okay. Yeah. Last up we have sound. I don't have a ton to say for sound.
I enjoy the soundtrack somewhat. I think the soundtrack for the third act, when we get pumped up for the action, sounds solid. These films generally have a solid soundtrack, but they're not the most memorable. In general,
Yeah.
they're solid and do what they need to do, and are slightly better than generic music, I think. But I the 2000s music is the 2000s music. It's there.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the sound effects
Oh
are
yeah.
really good at like that's part of why the care, because I guess I forgot to say this with the visuals. It does feel like the Transformers characters are in those scenes, even if I don't like the designs.
Sure. Yeah.
Feels incredibly well realized, and I think part of that is the sound effects.
Yeah.
Sort
I
of.
love. I love the different sound effects they use for them all transforming. And I was like,
Yeah.
just classic.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
gave the
that's
sound a
about it.
3.5.
I also gave it a 3.5, which leaves me with a total score of 15.5, which is a 62%, or a 3.15 star rating.
Yeah, and I gave this an overall score of 14 out of 25, which is a 56% or a 2.85 star rating. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the first film, which a lot of people, it really depends on who you ask. A lot of people say that this is the best one up until Bumblebee. in contention is maybe the third one. That
Okay.
one does have stronger stakes, but the next one though, we're dealing with a film that you're dealing with a lot of, again, you have Michael Bay, a lot of those issues, plus the writer's strike of that time period affecting it. So that should,
Oh boy.
oh
Okay,
boy,
that's
yeah,
gonna be interesting.
yep,
Oh.
yep.
Well, yeah.
Well then,
Thank you everyone for listening. Make sure to follow us on social media. We are Binging Barbie Podcast on Instagram and Tumblr, Binging Barbie on Twitter and Serialized, and Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast on Letterboxd. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a 5-star review and go join our Patreon at patreon.com/Binging Barbie Podcast. We will be back next week to talk about Transformers Revenge of the Fallen. And until then, remember to knock on your teenagers' doors before barging in, because they are teenagers. You are ruining their youth. Yada,
Yeah.
yada, yada.
they are ruining everything. Anyway, Autobots, roll out! Hit the music.
Whoa,